From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
My, oh my, it is Friday. It is July the 7th. It's 2017. And I'm your host, Keith Allen, with a good dose of common sense. We'll get it in you. One spoonful at a time. No fake news here. And by the way, if you want some fake news, I mean, you know where to go. You can go to the FNN site. There at the Failing News Network, FNN, which I just love. Fake news all the time. Well, it's catching up to CNN. I mean, it really finally is showing it with the numbers. And they say, you know, the numbers don't lie. But CNN getting crushed in the cable ratings, and especially last week, coming in at number 10 behind the Home and Garden Network, HGTV, Nick at Night, the History Channel, and Sports Network, ESPN, according to the Federalist. Now, these sightings, these ratings from the week of June 26th through July 2nd. CNN's viewership of its primetime shows, folks, talking primetime, was ranked significantly lower than Fox News and, believe it or not, MSNBC, which placed first and second. And then the ratings collapse comes amid the network's continuing feud with President Donald Trump. You know, there's a lot of Americans that they go to work every day, and they work for, you know, liberal snowflakes, okay? And I got a song coming up for your boss. If they're a liberal snowflake, and they have to keep their mouth shut. They have to play the other side. They cannot give the illusion that they voted for Donald Trump, but they did vote for Donald Trump because they realized that their country is in trouble. And when you're in trouble, folks, people, they do things that normally, you know, they wouldn't. Some. But people are pushed sometimes. When push comes to shove, what do they say? The going gets tough, the tough get going. I believe America stood up this time around, and the right people voted Donald Trump in this time around. No pun intended, by any means, because I know plenty that were Democrats that voted for Donald Trump. Plenty. It pushed them over. There's just no doubt about it. That always voted Democrat, voted for Barack Obama, admittedly said minorities, voted for Barack Obama, voted for Donald Trump because of his common sense, and so tired of those in Washington in the so-called establishment that know better than anybody else out there. And so they went to Harvard, so they went to Princeton, so they went to Yale. Does it mean that they know better? Does it know that they know what's going on to feed a family, to pay taxes, to be able to pay for medical and all these things that you really can't afford because your job went overseas and you're fighting every day just for survival? I heard a report, and it's just amazing to me to hear, but it's true, that how many Americans are just one paycheck away from being homeless. One paycheck. I mean, that's scary, folks. That's scary to me. But it's true. We're living in one of the most prosperous, the largest economy in the world. And how could that be? How could How could over 80% of Americans, 90% of Americans be one paycheck away from being homeless? And we're the most wealthiest nations on the planet. How could that be? And well, there's a lot of reasons, folks. And you could go on and you could say, well, see, all those anti-capitalists, see, they were onto something. They were right, and they were setting those fires, and they were angry. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not even going to go there to say that socialism is a great idea. I don't think that is at all. I think that what's wrong with our country is a lot of people have stopped dreaming. That's the direction I'm going. Stop dreaming, lost the American dream. And that's why Donald Trump resonated with me so much for my generation, which was Generation X. I was born in 1970. Maybe some of you were. Some of you were born in the 40s like Chuck. But you've seen your country get worse and worse. And we've been sold out from under us, from our politicians that we sent to Washington. And it's this establishment that's broken. We can clearly see the broken system and the system that Donald Trump is fighting against, along with a war on the media. Donald Trump didn't start it. They started it just like the Rambo films. They drew first blood. They did. They put an all-out assault. They assaulted Donald Trump in the very, very beginning and did everything and anything that they could do, no holds bar, to make sure that everything they could possibly do. Star-studded power from Hollywood, California. All the movie directors, all the celeb power, all of the money. And none of it stuck. None of it worked. None of the spells, none of the voodoo curses, nothing worked. And Donald Trump is in Washington, D.C., and I don't think it's by accident at all. He's in the White House. He's overseas now at the G20. And finally, a leader that can represent all of us proudly, intelligently, yes, intellectually. Did you hear the speech in Warsaw? Listen to it. And it's just like the left to be able to pick that speech apart because he mentioned God. Again, if you listen to the first hour, we're able to listen to the podcast at forthepeopleshow.com and hear what I had to say about that reference. But the bottom line is they took him out of context. Some of them the left may have known, but they didn't want to say it because it would just be more convenient for them to say, see, I told you. He's setting himself up to be a god. Give me a break. Really? I mean, well, you know, when you're desperate, people will do desperate things. So where are we going here with this conversation on this Friday? I am just kind of thinking out loud here. Thinking to myself, yeah, I have an outline here, but I am just thinking about all of the things that we talk about almost on a daily basis. And that is our country. And what we can do to make our country great again. Now, I've mentioned it sporadically here and there, and we've heard our president talk about what that is and what it isn't. But a lot of us in this country have that distant memory of what that American dream looked like, and because of things that have happened to us, we have given up. We're hoping that the next generation, the next group of people coming through, maybe they'll be able to do it. We're praying, we're hoping, but not realizing you're still alive. You still can offer the world, your country, a lot. You say, but who would listen to me? You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at how many people would listen to you and from your experiences in which you've gone through. I know a lot of young people, they don't respect elders, but there are enough out there that are starting to listen. There's the anomalies out there, and what they need is they need mentors. That's a shortage in this country, mentors. People that are really able to stop and care and take notice and get involved with somebody and make a difference in their lives. And that's how you can change things and change your world. And stop being so cynical. Gosh, if anything, I've seen older people, they become so cynical about different things. So, yeah, I used to be an idealist, I used to be, like you, so optimistic and for a country, but you just don't realize it's all bad. We're all going to hell. Folks, I think this is our last big shot of getting back on to trajectory to where America is back on solid footing. We can do it. Illinois just got out of their debt. Well, they didn't get out of their debt, but they have a debt repayment plan where they raise taxes and they're going to be able to save so much money. They're going to be able to pay back that debt first in 2 years, but they're doing it, and that's something, but they didn't give up. That's my point. And it can be so overtaken by all of the negative stuff that's out there about what's going on in the world, you just want to bury yourself. You want to put your head in the sand. But doing that does worse, far worse. You see what inactivity does when you have the left and that ideology brought at civilization, and see how that's reacted to other countries, and it has got us destabilized all over the country. But that same effect takes place inwardly in our own country right now, and it starts individually. Where they say, united we stand. We need to stand together united. I think we need to get together a lot more around, the diner, over coffee, having some discussions without yelling, without screaming, but intelligently having conversations, kind of like over at the G20. Why does it always have to just be a select few? Why does it just have to be world leaders? Why can't we have this type of meaningful discussion with each other without tearing each other's head? Is it just for the dignified? Is it for just the super educated? Or can not the layperson or the mildly educated or street savvy person be able to come up with some ideas? And then you could actually share some of those ideas with your senator, your city commissioner, your mayor, to input some of these ideas and get involved with the local process. Yeah, attend a town hall meeting. Have you ever done that? They're so fun. But to see it from the local level there, you don't always have to go to your capital, but to see how things are done from the very, very basics and just make that difference that way. Find something and be a part of it. Get some votes, get the vote out, whatever that might be. That's something you're passionate about. But get on the bandwagon and start fighting for what is right every day. And you can do it. And you can get some people together, encourage them to be able to do the same thing. Why does it always have to be that? That's the question. Why does it always have to be those people? Well, it's the Yales, it's the Harvards, it's the Princetons, it's just them. And we'll just leave it to them. And I'm saying, folks, it's bigger than that. Do we just do our jobs, our civic duty, by just simply voting, and that's it? And that's all we do? I think that we've done a disservice by just thinking that's just enough. We'll get the vote out, we do it. Then all the heavy lifting, we just put the burden on all of these senators, and then a lot of them fail us. And it's all on them. And I'm saying we have to take some blame here ourselves from our lack of involvement, our lack of engagement. And I'm pointing fingers at myself. Am I doing enough? We all have to be able to be much more engaged with our culture, and this culture war is going on right now. Folks, and I believe, as Donald Trump believes, and so many believe, that we have to fight for our civilization to continue on, so we don't have prevailing forces out there that would love to have Sharia law implemented as law of the land, or other invading negative forces out there that definitely do not share our values, our virtues. And folks, I'm here to tell you, I think we're at the precipices. I think if we don't do something now, I believe we're going to lose it. And Donald Trump is out there every single day fighting a barrage of media pundits out there, and they have no idea on how to be able to solve these issues, but they are so gifted at being able to spew hatred and untruths out there to make Donald Trump look like an idiot, where he's just trying to help and solve